Hello, boys and girls. Our selection for today is titled The Nest by Carol Roberts, illustrated by Nina de Polonia. This type of story, boys and girls, a genre, it is a realistic fiction, meaning it's fictional. A realistic fiction are stories that are made up but could happen in real life. We have characters and settings that may seem real because of what we see. We do have a nest right here on the front cover. So nests, boys and girls, even though this story is not real, we do see nests in trees because we do have birds in real life as well, and birds live in trees. So this, boys and girls, even though the story is fictional, events in here can happen in real life. The title, The Nest, we have the word nest already. It's already giving us a clue about what the story may be about. Nest, and we have a picture of a nest as well. So on the front cover, it's really important for us to read the title and look at illustrations or photographs to give us clues about what the story may be about, or what is the author trying for us to know about it. What is its purpose? Okay, and as we continue with our story, boys and girls, vocabulary. Our vocabulary is very important because we will see these words throughout the story. And it's really important for us to understand the meaning of it. Our first vocabulary word is the word exclaimed. Exclaimed. Let's look at our picture right here on our bottom of the word. What do you see? I see a broken window. It looks like the little boy probably broke it with his soccer ball, kicking or playing with it. And look at his face. How does he look? Right? He probably looks scared. He's shocked. When you do something that you know you'll probably get in trouble, you probably yell like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" You exclaim. Exclaimed, boys and girls, first of all, is a verb. It shows the action, what the person or the thing is doing. If someone exclaimed something, it was said in an excited way. You yell with excitement, you exclaimed, "Oh no, I broke the door. Oh no, I broke the window." You yell with excitement, boys and girls, because that's what it's showing right here on the picture as well. Exclaimed. Our next vocabulary, Jeremy exclaimed, "Oh no," when he saw the broken window. So he yelled. Our next vocabulary word is the word twigs. Twigs. So on my picture right here, boys and girls, I see a bird. And the bird, boys and girls, what is he standing on, or what is he sitting on or on? Branches, right? I see lots of little tree branches with some leaves. So I can also say that twigs, boys and girls, the word twigs, we can also refer to them as branches from the trees. Okay? Twigs, boys and girls, is a noun. A noun is a person, place, thing, or animal. And the word twigs is a thing because we're referring to the twig, which is right here, like the branches on the tree. Twigs are small, thin branches from a tree or bush. So they're thin branches from a tree or bush. They're very thin, they're not very thick, just something like this. Very thin. A bird sits among the twigs near the top of the tree. And usually you'll see birds, boys and girls, on trees sitting on twigs like that, looking out around them. So the word is twigs. Our next vocabulary word is the word surprise. Surprise. What do you see here on the picture? I see two little kids, a boy and a girl. Maybe these are their parents. And it looks like the dad is holding a dog. And it has a red bow. Hmm, probably a gift if it's wrapped in a bow. And look at their facial expressions. How do they seem? Happy, right? Excited that they're getting a puppy for Christmas or for their birthdays or for good behavior. So they are surprised because it was like a little surprise for them. They were not expecting their parents probably to get them a dog. So they're very happy. The word surprise, boys and girls, is a noun because the word surprise is a thing. What are they doing there? They're acting surprised, right? It's a thing, an emotion, expression. A surprise is something you did not know you would see or do. The puppy is a surprise from our parents. So the kids, boys and girls, were very surprised that their parents got them a puppy. They did not think they would get them a puppy. Surprise. Our next vocabulary word is the word soon. Soon. And in our image right here, boys and girls, we see lots of kids running. It looks like they're playing a race because we see them all trying to run maybe to the finish line here where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're all trying to run as fast as they can. And we see this one's ahead of the game probably, right? He's almost done. He's probably going to be the winner. When you run a race or compete in any sport or competition, boys and girls, it eventually comes to an end. Soon it'll end. Maybe it can be a 2-hour competition, a 1-hour competition, but it comes to an end. Soon the kids will probably finish the race and one of them will win. Soon, boys and girls, is an adjective. An adjective, boys and girls, describes something. It describes it. What are the kids doing here? They're running. Right? The race will finish soon. If something will happen soon, it will happen a short time from now. Meaning it's not going to last a long time. It'll finish soon. The children will soon finish the race. Soon. Our next vocabulary word is the word warm. Warm. What do you see here, boys and girls? Yes, I see a little girl, probably with her mom. They're both bundled up, meaning they're both covered up. They have a thick jacket, they have pants on, they have a hoodie on, a little hat to cover their ears, their head, mittens on their hands so they won't feel cold, and some mugs, like little coffee cups, maybe with some hot chocolate in there. And look at the back. What do you see? Falling. What's that white stuff called? Snow. There's snow falling in the background with their yard. So it's probably very cold because of the way they're dressed and because snow is falling. So when you're cold, boys and girls, to keep yourself warm, like the vocabulary word, you put on lots of jackets, you drink hot chocolate, you keep inside to keep warm instead of being outside. Warm, boys and girls, is an adjective because it describes what they are doing. They are keeping warm by drinking hot chocolate, or they're keeping warm by wearing all the jackets and the hoodies and the mittens. So adjectives describe something, boys and girls. Adjective. If something is warm, it is a little bit hot. So that means you won't be too cold because you're keeping yourself warm in there. The mug of hot chocolate feels warm as we drink it. So I know when I drink hot chocolate, boys and girls, it keeps my body warm and I feel better because it's hot. The chocolate inside is hot, your mug. Our next vocabulary word is the word empty. Empty. Empty, boys and girls. What do you see here on the picture? Okay, we see a pitcher with water in it, and then we have lots of cups, or 4 cups, right? So empty, boys and girls. What does it mean? Right. It means there's nothing in there. It's empty. There's no water. There's no juice, no Coke. Only the pitcher has water in it. So empty, boys and girls, is an adjective as well. It describes something. The cups are empty. If something is empty, it does not have anything in it. The water pitcher is full, but the glasses are empty. So once again, boys and girls, let's review our vocabularies for the story before we read the nest. Our first vocabulary word is the word exclaimed. Exclaimed. Our next vocabulary word is the word twigs. Twigs. Our next vocabulary word is the word surprise. Surprise. Our next one is the word soon. Soon. Next one, warm. Warm. And our last one, empty. Empty. Before we continue with our story and we start reading the nest, boys and girls, our skill that we will be focusing throughout the story to pay attention to these very important events is called story structure. How is the story put in order for us to understand what's happening in the events? Events are the things that happen in a story. They are told in sequence or in order. Use details to identify and describe the events. So the author, boys and girls, writes the story. But when he writes the story, he tells what happens in order. In order, boys and girls, means, like for example, when you count numbers, the 1 comes first, then after the 1, the 2 comes next, and then after the 2, the 3 comes next. You try to tell them in order so they can be more understanding. So we as readers are able to understand what is happening. Because remember, good readers, boys and girls, pay attention to the events in the story, what's happening. They ask questions before the story, they ask questions during the story, and they ask questions at the end of the story. Because it helps us identify details, identify events, if there was a problem, what happened in the middle, and so forth. So good readers, boys and girls, are always on the eye and always looking, because remember, we're detectives. Little detectives, boys and girls, are always looking for all those little clues in the story to help us understand the story structure. First, boys and girls, on story structure, you use first to describe the most important events that happen at the beginning. And when you tell me what happened first, boys and girls, you're telling me at the beginning what happened at the beginning. You don't tell me a whole summary. You use the most important clue words or a simple sentence to tell me what happened at the beginning of the story. Next, as you go up the little roller coaster right here, boys and girls, you use next, the word next right here, to describe the most important events that happen in the middle. So then we focus on the middle. What's happening in the middle? This can probably be like the most exciting part because we're at the top of the little hill roller coaster. What happened in the middle of the story? Remember, you use clues to help you identify those events and describe them. Pictures gives us clues. And then as we start going down the hill, last. Use last to describe the most important events that happen at the end. So you kind of, okay, so, and as you're going along, boys and girls, to see what happened last, okay, so you identified the first, the next, and the last. You also look for any details, any clues, any questions you're asking to help us. Oh, so this happened last at the end of the story. So story structure, boys and girls, they're told in sequence and in order. Just the way you count your numbers 1 through 10 in order, or your ABCs in alphabetical order, A, B, C, D, E, you follow a sequence. You would follow the story structure as well to retell us kind of like the story again, what happened in the beginning, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end. Prepare to read, boys and girls. A genre study, The Nest, is realistic fiction. Stories are made up but could happen in real life. We look for characters and a setting that seem real, ways the pictures and words work together to tell a story. We set a purpose as well. You always ask questions before, during, and after you read to help you understand the text. We look for evidence in the text and pictures to answer your questions. Because remember, we are little detectives. Detectives are always looking for evidence, always looking for those little clues to help us understand what is going on, what happened, what's going to happen. Our vocabulary words one more time are the words exclaimed, twigs, surprise, soon, warm, and empty. And here we have a little picture of our front cover of the story titled The Nest, realistic fiction. Even though these pictures are illustrations, they're not real. The events can probably happen in real life because we do have birds in real life. We do have birds that live in nests up in trees. Okay, boys and girls, let's get ready to read our story. Once again, the title of the story is called The Nest by Carol Roberts, illustrated by Nina de Polonia. And remember, this is a realistic fiction story. That means that this story are made up but could happen in real life. We have characters and settings that may seem real, boys and girls, but this one is a fictional story, meaning it's not real, but events could happen in real life.
Max, Jen, exclaimed Quinn. Look, I see a nest. Can you see the nest? Asked Quinn. I see it, said Max and Jen.
Okay, boys and girls, so they see a nest. They see a nest.
Can you see the bird? Asked Mrs. Webb. Yes, it is a mockingbird, said Quinn. The nest was made of twigs. It had grass in it.
So Mrs. Webb is a teacher, boys and girls, and she also saw the bird. And the bird looks like it's making a nest of twigs. Twigs is one of your vocabulary words. Twigs, boys and girls, is like thin branches of a tree. And it also uses grass. It has grass in its nest. Why do you think it has grass also in their nest? Let's read along. Let's find out.
The grass will make it soft, said Ben. I see twigs and leaves, said Wes. I see bits of paper, said Liz. We can write about it, said Jen.
So Ben said, boys and girls, that the grass will make it soft. And the twigs are part of the tree also. So maybe twigs so it can make it kind of like sturdy so it won't fall apart. And the grass so it can have a nice place to sit and lay down. So they're going to write about it. What do you think they're going to write about the bird? Maybe to see how long it takes to finish making the nest? Or to see what it will do in the nest? Let's find out.
One day, a surprise was in the nest. Eggs, the kids said. We see eggs with dots. We will look at the nest every day, said Mrs. Webb. Will we see baby birds? Asked Quinn. Soon? Everyone asked.
So then, boys and girls, one day as they looked out the window, they had a surprise. Vocabulary word surprise, because they saw that there was eggs inside the nest. So the bird, boys and girls, was making its nest because it was going to lay eggs soon. We all know that when they lay eggs, what's inside probably? Baby birds, right? So it laid eggs. The word vocabulary look. So they're gonna write in their notebooks what they will look at the nest every day to see what happens throughout the time that the bird is in its nest with its eggs. And they were also kind of so curious to know, are they going to see any baby birds in there, right? And the teacher or everybody said soon. Vocabulary word soon, meaning in a short period of time, we're probably going to see some baby eggs. Baby birds hatch from the eggs. Let's find out.
The bird sat on the nest. This made the eggs warm. The bird sat and sat for days. One day, the kids see baby birds.
Oh. So the bird sat on the nest, boys and girls. And the bird sits on the nest because this makes the eggs keep them warm. If they're not kept warm, boys and girls, the eggs will not hatch. So she has to keep them warm for lots of days, not just for one day, for lots of days to sit on them, keep them warm, so her babies are able to be born safely. If not, they won't be born. And all of a sudden, boys and girls, I'm sorry, before I go on, warm is one of your vocabulary words. Warm. Keeps them kind of hot. All of a sudden, boys and girls, what did they see now? What happens? What starts to happen with the eggs? Yes, the eggs start to hatch. And out comes one baby, and then we have more over here on the side, right? Why do they have their little mouths open like that? What does it mean when they do that? Anybody knows?
The mom fed the baby birds. The dad fed the baby birds. The baby birds look soft, said Liz. Soon they will get big feathers, said Quinn.
So the mom feeds them, the dad feeds them until they're able to eat on their own, because right now they can't fly, boys and girls. They don't have their wings yet. They can't really move. They stay in this nest for a while until they're big enough and get like this. When they're able to have little small wings, they're fluffier, right? They're bigger. Of course, they still get fed by mom, but slowly they're growing, and mom teaches them how to what? What do they know how to do as they get older? They're not gonna stay in the nest forever, are they? Let's find out.
Every day the birds try to fly. Can they fly yet? The kids asked. The baby birds try. Then the baby birds can fly.
So remember, as the birds are growing, as they're growing up, as days goes by, who is looking at them? Who's writing about them? Who's learning about them? The kids, right? Remember, the kids are looking through the window every day because the nest is by their classroom or by the window where they're at. So they ask, can the birds fly? Will they learn how to fly? And the birds try, boys and girls. They're trying by flapping, by flapping, by flapping more, and then flapping more. They practice, 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 boys and girls, until they're able to fly away. So they don't stay in their nest forever. Once they get a little bit older and they're able to flap and fly away, they go off. So the students are watching them. That's why they're writing in their journals about the birds. Next page.
One day it was quiet. The nest was empty. It was fun to see the baby birds.
Empty. What does the word empty mean? Good job. That there's nothing in the nest. There's no more mom bird. No more dad bird or no more baby birds. They have left the nest. Maybe another bird might come and lay and do it all over again. Start fixing up the nest again and lay its eggs. And maybe these students will once again get to see birds in the nest later on. Okay? So boys and girls, let's go back to our story. Let's talk about what happened in our story structure. What happened first, what happened in the middle or next, and what happened last. So we know the story, boys and girls, was about a bird, right? That laid its eggs on its nest, and she fixed her nest with twigs, with grass. Okay? So at the beginning, boys and girls, we see that the bird makes a what? What do you see her making? Right. A nest. A nest to lay its what? Good. So at the beginning, the bird makes a nest to lay her eggs. What happens in the middle of the story now, boys and girls? What happens in the middle of the story? Right. The mom lays her eggs and keeps them warm, right? They keep them warm. She lays her eggs. She lays her eggs, and then the eggs hatch. And now come out this little small birds. Okay? What happened at the end of the story? What do you see happening as the story goes on? At the end of the story, the little birdies, what do? They fly away, boys and girls. They fly away. So our beginning of the story, boys and girls, the bird makes a nest for her eggs. In the middle of the story, the bird lays eggs. And at the end, boys and girls, the birds fly away. Remember to keep in mind that story structure tells you events in the story of how it's happening. Really important to pay attention to pictures and clues throughout the story to help us answer questions before, during, and after, because that's what good readers do. I hope you enjoyed the story.